Hi guys, it's Antoinette and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you like the content, consider subscribing, all that good stuff. So as I said in the adverts, being that October is Black History Month in the UK, I wanted to use it as an opportunity to talk about a topic that's been on my heart for a while, and that's the area of identity. I want to explore what it means for us, and talking from my perspective as a British-born African Christian woman who currently resides in the UK. Yes, I know that's a mouthful, but I needed to break it down in that manner so you can kind of get a gist of where I'm going with this. All of these things, these titles, these things that people would use to describe me, for instance, how does that relate to me and how does that affect my identity? Should it? Does it? And should it? I just want to explore all of these different areas, and that's why I kind of said what I said just now. And if you're not following me on Instagram, it's a good idea to start following me on Instagram, because I'm going to be putting out content there as well in relation to the series that I'm doing on YouTube, so they kind of tally with each other. And it's not just about me, it's not just about my experiences. I've been talking to a number of, in this context, different Black people from different cultural backgrounds, so that we get a variety of opinions, a variety of perspectives. It's not just from one biased point of view, and so that we can explore this topic of identity in its different facets from different angles. So I hope you enjoy this series. And another reason I think more than ever that this topic is so important for us to delve into is, if you don't know who you are, or you don't know what you stand for, yeah, that's a better way of putting it, you don't know what you stand for, then it's going to be very hard for you to say that you're living a confident life, because you're going to be swayed by whatever comes up or what's trending, or worse still, you buy into the deception and lies that can take you off track. People pushing you into being or believing that you're something other than what you were created to be, other than what you are at your core. And peer pressure is real, guys. It is really real. It doesn't end in the playground. We have people out here in their 50s still having to deal with peer pressure, still not knowing who they really are. Something that a lot of people feel that, okay, early on in life they should have tackled that. No, this is something that can be ongoing if it's not dealt with. I feel that if you have the confidence of knowing who you are, it's going to be very difficult for someone to convince you otherwise. And it also changes the approach you have of when you're doing something. Like, it gives you that boosted confidence that you need, that in the face of opposition, in the face of criticism, in the face of fear, doubts, all of that, you know you'll be all right, because regardless of everything else, you know who you are. So for me, one of the aims of this series, even though we're going to be looking at a lot of surface level things, I ultimately want people to have a renewed sense of identity if they don't already have that, and to know who they are, or at least get on the road to knowing who they are. Because knowing who you are is a continuous journey of self-discovery. It's not something that you can say, okay, I've landed. You're going to continually discover something new about yourself at the different stages of life. And so it should be that way, because it reflects growth and we're always growing. I just hope, and it's my aim and my intention, that it will be like a guidepost for people, because I feel that you get the most peace when you're content in just being yourself. And a lot of people are lost in trying to be someone else other than who they really are. So hopefully, like I said before, this series will be like a signpost, guiding you back to the right direction, enabling you to just live free of the burdens and insecurities that come with performing a role, or come with not exactly knowing who you really are. And I also want to point out at this stage that in order for me to get my point across, I've had to generalize in some of the episodes just to get my point across. So I don't want people coming in the DMs saying stuff like, but not all white people are like this, or not all Black people do this, blah de blah de blah. It's just to get a general perspective on what I'm talking about. And yeah, so see this as just like an introduction into the series. But I also want you to take away from this episode, or I want you to go and reflect upon character, your character traits. So even though your character in itself is not who you are, because we're a spirit. That's our real self. That is ultimately who we are. We live in a body and we have a soul. So our character comes under like the soulish realm, along with our wills, our emotions and all of that. Character is important because it's reflective of, how do I put this? It's reflective of how people would identify with you, or identify or describe who you are based on your character traits. And to do this, I'm going to give you like a practical exercise. And I also want to point out that this is not for everyone. If you're not mentally strong enough to handle criticism, to handle people giving you feedback that might not be positive, I don't think you should do this exercise, because it can set you back, or it can put you in a place mentally that you don't necessarily want to be. We want to be better people. We want to better ourselves. We want to improve ourselves, but we can't do this if we don't really know how people perceive us. So we might think X about ourselves, but everyone else thinks Y. And because we haven't asked, we don't find out from other people what they really think about us, we will never know. So the exercise is more of a case of going to people that you're close to. And this has to be people that's going to be open and honest with you, people that you're close to, and finding out what they think about you. Not just your good points, but the points that they feel that you can improve on. And you need to take it without making excuses. So if you hear something and you're like, no, but that's not me, blah, blah, blah. Don't make any excuses about it. Just take on board what they're saying. And I'm not saying what they're saying is going to be the truth, or is going to be entirely reflective of who you are. There might be a number of reasons why people perceive you a certain way, and that's not necessarily true. But it's a good step in the right direction, in that you're finding out how other people perceive you, just so that you can take it on board and better yourself. It's something that you shouldn't just do as a one-off as well. It's something that you should continually do. Like, okay, you can come back 2 years time, a year's time, whatever, and say, do you think as a person I've improved on what you've mentioned to me in the past? Stuff like that. But like I said before, if you're not mentally strong enough to do this, please don't do this. I did this in my previous workplace. I asked quite a few of my colleagues to let me know what they thought about me. And I didn't want to hear any good points, any of the dandy pandy stuff. I wanted them to be brutally honest and tell me the truth about what they thought about me. So something that you should bear in mind, something that you might want to look into, and something that might pleasantly surprise you, because you might end up hearing things that you just didn't think were true about you. So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave this episode here for now, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a fabulous week, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you're not doing so already. And remember that it is one step at a time to becoming confident. Bye for now, guys.